Here at an installation site, I have verified that homeowner has contacted 811, had their utility lines marked. They have also taken the time to inspect their yard in their own sunlight times of area, and they have marked this area as the area suitable for a 10 by 10. They have applied their 10 by 10 tarp. They secured the tarp by placing some branches down. We're going to go ahead and remove this, but first we're going to orient ourselves north facing, so that way we can get our north, south, east, and west grid. This is kind of how I orient myself, north and south. This lets me know I am 360 degrees, so that is north. Okay, based on the app, this is my north facing side, this is my south facing side, which means I want my rows to go east to west. So I'm gonna mark off this area and this area with my line. So the silage tarp is supposed to kill the grass, but it depends on how long that you have let it sit in place. And that's just basically time. And I did jump the gun by coming here because I wanted to get it done because I'm in the area. But main thing you need to do is still look around. Here's a nice sized rock or stump or something that's still in the ground. So even though that was covered with their tarp, obviously I'm not going to go over there. And this grass should be way lower than this, but it is very high. I'm still going to work with it. However, I'm going to let them know that there's probably a great chance that they're going to have some grasses pop back up. So I'm not going to work myself to death, but it's also should have been mowed also. So it shouldn't look like the rest of the grass. It should be very low. All right, this is a fast way for me to mark my 10 by 10s now. I used 4 10-foot PVC pipes, quickly make my grid, and then I go ahead and put my stakes in the ground with my line attached so I can see up high, and then I'll remove this PVC. And again, this lets me know that this is north and south, so I know my rows are gonna go east to west. So this is kind of a quick fix. The green parts are the rows, 2-foot walkways, 2-foot row, 2-foot walkway, 2-foot row. So pretty easy. All right, so we got the area tilled. Little areas that I missed, the corners over there, that little piece right there. Not a big deal. We're not looking for perfection, but this is it. And again, I've oriented myself north and south, and those green pieces, those are my rows. So what I'm gonna do with my shovel is come down and flip the land over this way and then this way, and then do the same thing on that row, and that should give me nice even rows. This middle row is always going to be a little higher because we're flipping from both sides. So what I do is I try to take from the middle and add as necessary to fill it up. But for this, because the grass is so high, it was so high to begin with, what we're going to do is make the rows and then cover this back up with the tarp, and then place the compost on the tarp so that literally they can move it within a week, 2 weeks, let it solarize, kill all the grass, and then their instructions would be to place the compost on top. I would not come back, but if this was how I left it for someone doing the roots of generosity program, this is where they would just come in and again do the same thing. They solarize it for 2 weeks, and then they come and finish it out. The compost will be dropped the same way. So it's not a big deal, but yeah, this is it. So here we are again with our mounds again on the green walkways. We got a significant amount of grass left in there. What we're going to do is take that tarp, cover it again, and tell the homeowner to keep it covered for at least 2 weeks to kill all the grass. And we'll drop that compost right on top in between one of these rows. And once they remove the tarp, they can place the compost on there with the shovel, simply. Just spread it right on top and then plant their plants. So that's it, quick and fast. So we are back at our 10 by 10. We have let this tarp sit on this mound for over 2 weeks, so it should be nice and solarized, and we should have killed all the grass that's at the bottom. Let's take a look. Oh yes, I call that a success. This is what successful solarization looks like. We have all our grasses in here dead. we can leave them in here because now it's just going to continue to break down and become organic matter for our bed in general. So this is beautiful. This is exactly what we wanted. What I'm going to do is just simply move the top down a little bit. I'm going to just make this a nice mound to plant in. So this is beautiful. This is perfect. All right, now I'm going to add in my compost. Okay, so we just applied our top layer of compost, and what we have done is oriented ourselves south facing again. So we want to go from our ground or root crops to a taller variety to our tallest crop. So in our case, we're going to do tomatoes on this back area. We're going to do bush beans, the second row. And instead of a root crop, we're going to do mustard greens on this last one since we're transitioning into fall. So you can definitely look at our planting guide, courtesy of Farm Boy. He has a farm guide if you want to go different varieties and understand what you can grow, but we do have a standardized model that you can follow in the courses. And this is basically how it's done. These mustard greens, I'm not going to do the sowing recommendation at all. I'm just going to come down here and sprinkle them. And what's going to happen is as they pop up, it's going to be wonderful because it's going to be more than what she needs. And if I'm doing 100 installs in Riverdale, I might be able to sow enough to come back over here and pick up some extras so that I can go forward to other people's spots and skip this phase. So it's kind of like I'm building a bank, you know, specifically with these mustard greens. Any leafy green, to be honest. The beans, I got them spaced out 4-inch intervals. Basically, I'm just going to push them gently right under the soil. Just enough to where the birds can't see them and eat them. Hopefully get some rain and rain them in really well. Go ahead and make sure they're covered. Beans sprout fast. That's why I like them. And there's something that sprouts fast and you get an early harvest. And bush beans don't get big to where you need a lot of infrastructure. And lastly, our tomatoes, because this is a base ingredient for a lot of meals. So tomatoes just make sense. Cover that up.